Hello. We're continuing now with our work on the wonderful teachings of Sri Aurobindo with his wonderful help. And that board meeting we were talking about, very important board meeting that needs to happen frequently to be sure, basically, the individual is doing the individual's part. But today there's another aspect. Our imposter, our false self, is very often critical. And in this constant criticism, you'll never find yoga. You'll never find happiness or fulfillment. You'll just run around criticizing. Or you may not say anything. It's what you think. It's what you feel. So I call this trashing. I don't believe Sri Aurobindo used the word trashing, but fits perfectly with our vocabulary and our time. We're saying the imposter in us, who is so powerful in dictating the quality of our life, the imposter is busy trashing. Wherever we go, whatever we do, it's got comments. And these activities of criticism or trashing, treating like garbage, trashing, treating like garbage, these habits keep us from yoga. They make it an ego trip, whether we practice yoga or not. It's just the imposter rules the yoga. I mean, you could go to yoga class and criticize everybody, I suppose. But you're not doing yoga. That's the problem. So we're going to talk about this necessary problem being dealt with in the imposter. That's not what the soul wants to do at all with its time and with its life and with its love. We need to discuss and let go of the habit of trashing. It's a habit. Yoga is not just concepts. Yoga needs to be experienced. To see yoga work, you do it, you enjoy it, and you allow its dynamics to work. You practice yoga according to your need and your spiritual call. There's an inward pressure to do yoga. As you work with yoga, you discover yoga is like an ally. Yoga helps you get through the day. Yoga helps you deal with tough times. Yoga is harmony of your body, mind, and spirit that you establish quick as you can. Usually your first class, you shed the tension out of your body, do a little meditation, harmonious breathing. You're already on your way. You've already improved your life significantly. One class. Okay. Sri Aurobindo is the one who said, we've got this imposter. Well, other yogis say it too, like Patanjali way back when. We have a counterfeit self and a true self. Yoga is releasing the counterfeit self and living in and from your true self. So that's pretty ancient. That's 22 to 2400 years ago. But Sri Aurobindo also takes up the idea. Yoga is releasing this imposter and finding more and more that your soul replaces the imposter in your personality, in the words you say, and the things you do. These dynamics of yoga not only apply to yoga, they'll help you in all other areas of your life. So a societal problem, global problem, human problem is this treating as trash. The ego, the imposter, treats as trash, treats as garbage, all kinds of things that it likes to comment on or act on. Today in our society, people treat other people as trash from time to time, Or your life has no value to me. I can kill you because I had a bad life, or because I want your necklace, or whatever it might be. Or sorrows of other people, the feelings of other people, treated as trash. Oh, that's meaningless. That's their business. Trash. We trash love. We trash people's actions or feelings or endeavors to do good. We trash them. We tend to treat other groups, races, nations as trash. We trash nature. We trash valuable and beautiful things. In politics, people trash one another. He or she is not adequate, perhaps not even a human being, you know. He's stupid. He's criminal. He's a Neanderthal. Trashing Neanderthals. He's lazy. He's gay. He's a Muslim. He's incompetent. He's a crook. Billy Graham used to say the equivalent of trashing is the wrong way. But I forget his word for trashing, but it's just the wrong way. Now and then on the news networks, ABC News said there's a nationwide fear of a loss of civility and courtesy. There's a decline in being able to trust one another or care about one another. We need to value civility again, which is treating people well, like they're not trash, you know. Men and women often trash one another. Discard, throw away, use and move on. Or trash love, or trash the marriage, trash the relationship. You're worthless. You have little or no value to me, or your love is worthless to me. I can ignore it as meaningless. I mean, it's such a big subject because there's so much trash. Of course, not all of human woes are involved in trashing, just so much. Often there are tragic situations, famines, epidemics. We're not saying the only problem is trash and trashing. We're saying one of the main things the false self likes to do is be critical and judge and trash and treat like garbage. So very often people are violent due to an attitude of other people and that one can hurt them. Or we can lie to them, or we can feel hatred for some. Mayhem, do mayhem. Practice lying to people, practice propaganda on people. Daytime television shows do a lot of trashing. It's just the imposter is doing well, or the imposter is doing ill, but successful at it. Soap operas, beautiful, clever people trashing one another. Trashing has many forms, as you know. You know, everybody knows about this. Prejudice is trashing. Sarcasm, betrayal, cruel banter, neglect. It's all trashing. You're not worth anything. Why do I have to pay attention to you and your needs? We're living in a time of lots of trashing of others. There's trashing of strangers, colleagues, other religions, other races. You know, we had, when I went to college, Arizona State University in Tempe, we had two of the finest people who could run so fast, the Spence brothers. And they would come from the Caribbean to Arizona State. And I guess they were on a bus, I'm not sure what, but when they passed through several states on the way to be celebrities at our university, they would have to sit in the back outside the restaurant in the trash in order to get a meal. So en route to running for us and doing such gorgeous running. Oh, you should have seen them. They were magnificent. En route, they would have to sit with the trash in back of restaurants through many, many miles of our country. That was in the 60s. We trash other nationalities. People even get into trashing their own mates, people they have married, or trashing their parents, or trashing the planet. We do a lot of planet trashing too. We may even get into trashing ourselves, wasting our lives, neglecting our lives, addiction, not trying. Have you been trashed by anybody? Isn't that an awful feeling? Disregarded or treated like a sub-animal, subhuman sub-animal. Wasn't it awful being treated like garbage? You and your being as worthless. Isn't that miserable? And yet people go around trashing one another. So the hard question is, have I been viewing or treating someone as trash lately? When I'm with others and the group is trashing people, do I join in? When I'm with others, do I affirm and appreciate them? Or do I devalue them? Do I trash their behavior, their individuality? Do I trash their needs and their rights? Well, if you want to do yoga, you want help with trashing. So you're not a trasher. You're an appreciator. You're a lover. You're a compassionate one. You're a helpful one. That's what your inner self wants to do. And when you get rid of this, when you substitute that trasher part of one's character or one's consciousness, when you substitute the soul and what it would rather do, if allowed, if permitted, if accepted and appreciated, it would rather uplift everybody in the whole world. It'd like to make everybody feel valued and appreciated, treasured. So let's look at trashing as a little set of exercises. Is trashing a factor in your life? When you were trashed, probably, how did that feel and what was the resulting damage? So many people get discouraged and they have all kinds of talent, but they got discouraged. And they blocked that. They stopped developing. Do you have any trashing attitudes and behaviors of putting people down or assuming people are stupid or not worth your time? Look at trashing your attitudes and behaviors. Do you have any attitudes and behaviors that you would consider to be trashing when you stop and think about it? I had a friend who was the doctor of a football team, and he was telling me an insight he got. When he checks the football team, they have to open their mouth and stick out their tongue. And he goes to one of the stars And the star already had his tongue out and his mouth open. And he thought, how intelligent. He's already ready for me to check him. And a similar fellow did the same thing, and he was not that successful in football. But my doctor friend thought, that looks stupid. And it was the same thing. Opening your mouth and sticking out and down your tongue. So due to his inner prejudices, he praised one, trashed another. It just went that fast. And this is a doctor who has done a lot of insight work, a lot of psychological study. Have you found that contradiction within yourself from time to time? Ah, yes. So look at your own trashing attitudes and behaviors. And then become a student of trashing. Consider the trashing aspects of society, the society you're in, other societies. Lots of societies are trashing a whole bunch of people because of a particular ethnic factor or some other factor. Consider the trashing aspects of society and the world, especially neglect and violence. Now, that's an important point. Trashing, you've got to have a board meeting and let go of the trashing. Now, looking at yoga dynamics, especially Sri Aurobindo's dynamics, using trashing as an example, I'd like you to consider all the work you've been doing on trashing here, and then let your sense of true self, even if you don't know it well, just sense from deep within your being how you would like to say words, speak, your attitude, what kind of attitude you'd like to have, what actions you'd like to take regarding releasing the imposter and bringing in the substitute. I'd like you to ponder regarding trashing, putting your true self in and saying to the imposter, you can go sit on the sidelines or you can leave the stadium if you want. Just like you do, take a moment to reflect from your core self, from what you're discovering in meditation about your true self. How would you express? How would you come forth regarding each of these areas that you're aware of trashing? Let's look within. Let's take a moment. Feel free to continue and become really good at this. Substitution. You could say, looking back at trashing times, that wasn't really me, was it? That wasn't me in my fullness, wholeness, in a centered way. That wasn't me. That was a false self behaving that way. Can't you honestly say that? Oh, imposter, I don't want you to represent me anymore. Abide in your center. There are all kinds of beautiful centers, as I've said. the deep spine, center spine, the heart center, the medulla center, third eye, or the crown. Each one of these places, you can begin to sense your true self, and its consciousness will come forth into your life. Send the imposter down the road. He said it so simply, so well. Now, let's open to the next spiritual possibility. A very great blessing and grace, which will develop as you dwell more and more easily in your true being. And as I mentioned earlier, it's called the descent. Going up into higher consciousness and bringing it down thoroughly. The descent is bringing spiritual awareness down into your mind and heart, your life force, your body, your senses. The descent is higher consciousness coming over your whole being. You perhaps stay in the heart center and the descent occurs there and then radiates through your whole being. Or you, very often what happens, here's what often happens. You get consolidated in the heart center, it rises to the crown, and then you go above the crown and you have a high experience. Then it comes down thoroughly through you, centers in the heart, and then fills your whole body. That's usually what happens. You get any of the third eye or the medulla, the heart, really doing well, momentum occurring. Usually you go up to the crown and then come back down. We're talking about spirit and spiritual awareness, not just light or insight. These happen, and they're great. Or a sense of your soul's beauty or greatness, that happens. These are lovely and do happen. But here quoting Sri Aurobindo, the whole higher consciousness, spirit, comes down in peace, power, knowledge, love, and spiritual joy. There must be a descent of the light, not merely into the mind or part of it, but into all the being. That's what we're talking about with descent. Not just come down to your mind and say, wow, that was wonderful, that was fantastic. Or your heart. No. The whole higher consciousness in peace, coming down thoroughly in peace, power, knowledge, love, and spiritual joy. There must be a descent of the light, not merely into the mind or part of it, but into all the being down to the physical, and below the physical, into the earth beneath your feet. Thorough. Below your feet. This has to happen before a real transformation can take place, he says. So the descent involves transformation, the higher consciousness thoroughly coming down through your whole being. To establish this process, and I'm quoting from Mr. Sen's book on Sri Aurobindo, but he's quoting Aurobindo. The first opening is affected by a concentration in the heart. As you meditate there, heart center opens, this beautiful state occurs. This first opening, concentration in the heart, you have a call then. A call comes to the divine, to manifest within us, and through the psychic, the evolving soul, awakening within us, and take us up and lead our whole nature upward into spirit. To clarify, I'll read it again. The first opening is affected by a concentration in the heart, a call to the divine to manifest within us. A call to the divine to manifest within us. And through the psychic, which means the evolving soul, to take up and lead the whole nature. All of us are in this. We're all in when we do yoga. We're all in. The second opening is affected by a concentration of the consciousness in the head, and afterwards above the head. This is the second opening. And an aspiration and sustained will for the descent. We've gone up here. We're seeking to come into communion and wholeness, oneness, union with the divine. And an aspiration and sustained will for the descent of the divine peace, power, light, knowledge, and ever new joy coming down into our being. We're talking serious stuff here, wonderful stuff. We're talking about, what should we say, freedom. We're talking about realization. We're talking about enlightenment. And often peace comes first, but the peace and force often come together too. Peace and this inner strength. They come down. This thorough transforming, let me say this again. This thoroughly transforming descent he calls the supermind. When all of this wonderful spiritual awareness in its wholeness comes down. This thoroughly transforming descent comes down thoroughly through you, changes you. No more imposter needed here. This thoroughly transforming descent is called the supermind. That's a term by Sri Aurobindo, and I recommend you write it on a card, so whenever you see the word supermind, you can use his definition. Supermind is the reality or truth consciousness. And Sri Aurobindo says, this supermental descent is necessary for a dynamic action of the truth in mind, the vital, the energetic part of your being, and your body. So thorough up, thorough down. I should repeat that, it's so beautiful. A full and true descent transforms, makes observable, profound, and sustained change. The descent of the divine peace, power, light, knowledge, and joy coming into the being, your being. So, summing up, no trashing. Be free, joyfully free of trashing. Open the heart, open the crown, receive the descent. Bless you.